with the exception of very few human beings, the world and every individual in it, this country, that country, everyone in it is in love with something. What they are in love with is, now I'm going to use different words and they all mean the same thing. What the vast majority of human beings are in love with is their present nature as it operates, their present nature as it expresses itself. They are in love with delusion. They are in love with familiarity. They are in love with darkness. And listen to this one. Everyone you know is in love with non-life. Non-life is life that has no authentic future. Non-life is the time self, the invented identity. Non-life is you as you presently think about yourself, including the fact that you are spiritually sick. If you say you're spiritually sick, you will then, if you say with your intellect you're spiritually sick, you will then go out and try to get medicine for the spiritual sickness, and what you will get is word medicine, idea medicine, identity medicine, imaginary medicine. So now you can retain your old time nature, non-life, and yet call it eternal life. But if you have the courage, the real daring, to never again call yourself anything, including a sick human being who needs the grace of God. The world is mad, it's insane by calling itself things. Slow down your mind. Don't call yourself sick. Don't call yourself well. Don't let the operation give you a description. Don't let the mental operation give you an identity, a nature. Do that, and I will guarantee you that you will be well by understanding what wellness really is. It's not a cure of sickness. God is never sick. God, look. How can God, the life principle, cosmic intelligence, capital C, capital I, how can that be sick? Further, how can that die? Can you imagine life with a capital L dying? You can't, can you? You can't. You see, this, my mind goes wrong. The intellect can think only of the word eternity, but when the intellect thinks of the word eternity, it connects it with the false time self and tries to believe that that particular tree out there or that particular human being will endure together and endure forever as it presently is. But that's nonsense. Because ideas, trees, come and go. They exist in time. They are born and they go. Now, if you want to get well and know what eternity really is, you have to understand that you were never started. How could you be started? See, truth, universal truth, God existed before you were born physically. Okay? You agree to that, won't you? You'll agree that it'll exist long after we are gone in the physical body. Now, if you are born into this world and begin to call yourself Bill or Mary and build a sense of existence around that, then you're going to be afraid of death. Because you say, what's going to happen to Bill or Mary? And you point at your physical body. You think that's you, see? What will happen, what will be my references after the death of the mind? What will be my references? What will happen to me? You're terrified at the end of you, and it's not you at all. Being terrified of death, you go around and try to find medicine, and you find false medicine, poison really. You find poison that tells you you now have eternal life because you are talking about eternal life. Because you're singing hymns about eternity. Your mind will say, I now have the peace of God in my heart. And a person who says that is a devil. If you have it, you don't say it. When you say it, you're trying to convince yourself that your lie is the truth. You have eternity when you don't think about having eternity. You have eternity when there's no one there to be eternal. You have everlasting life in a way which the mind can't at all understand. Don't you try to understand with the intellect what I'm talking about. Eternal life has always existed. Why do you always put it in the future? Why don't you put it in the past if you want to talk about time? Already you're in division, the intellectual division between past and future. God, light, capital L, eternity, forevermore, exist right now. If you understand and live in your essence right now, then you have this eternity in you right now as you're seated here. It belongs to you, and you know it belongs to you because there's no one thinking about it. If you think about it, you don't have it. Repeat. You're struggling around trying to get medicine that will cure your illness so that you'll be well. Every time you do that, you add further ideas in your mind about wellness and sickness. This means you'll never be well because only the absence of the self-created identity, only the absence of that is health. See, I can never be healthy. We can only seek health and stay sick. When you know that the only thing you've been living by up to now is thoughts and thought-created self, when that becomes clear, that is the death of delusion and not really the creation of life, but the revelation of the life that has been there since eternity and eternity. And now you are in what has always existed and always will exist, which, to make it clear, true teachers have called you inherit eternal life. They use words, but they use them consciously and deliberately because they know that nobody, practically almost nobody on earth, can ever go beyond the words and see directly. But you do start with words, which I'm doing now, and eventually when all the words disappear, all the thoughts disappear, then there is a knowing who you are, but no separate, independent knower. Because God, truth, reality is not divided. Now you are divided, aren't you? Don't you have oppositions? Don't you have enemies? Don't you have contradictions going on inside of you? That is the absence of wholeness. Wholeness is eternity.